I thought a long time ago I want to do that, and now I've fixed all these technical stuff and all these setups, how to go live, and that's my first try. I hope you like it. And as you see in the title, my plan is I want to paint a portrait in an expressive manner, which means to me that I'm not really addicted to be really similar to a real portrait or a real living person. It's only based on a sketch I've done some years ago, and I want to show you how I solve this with oil colors. So it's a challenge to me to fix that in maybe 90 minutes. Maybe I didn't come to the end, but I won't come to the end. But maybe I'm doing another one, or I send you later on a video where I finished this painting. And I don't want to talk too much now. Maybe we starting right now, and you're welcome and have fun. And if you have some technical issues because my sound is bad or the video quality is bad, so please leave me a message in the chat, so I take some views over there, and sometimes I have the time to answer these. Yeah, and yeah, it's a lot room to improve, and that's really a challenge to me. Have fun. Okay, so what we have, so you can see on the top right corner there is a small sketch I have made many years ago with a ball pen, and I've decided to use this as a template. And as a preparation, I did the same drawing on with charcoal on the paper, and then I primed it a bit with gesso and with a soft tone of a warm gray. So this will be my foundation to paint with oil colors. And on the top right corner, on the bottom right corner, you see my palette. I prepared the colors I plan to use, or maybe I'm only prepared for that, but I work normally intuitively with the choice I want to make. Maybe we just have a short look over the colors I have placed on this palette. We have at first titanium white, then we have a green color which I have mixed with tallow and blue, and then I have phthalo green. There is cadmium. No, that's maple yellow hue, and this is a skin color I prepared by my own, which is my own mixture. And there we have cadmium orange. We have vermilion red. We have cadmium red. This is quinadron rose. And this is magenta. This is a cold gray light. This is a warm gray tone. And there I have a violet. And this is burnt sienna. Then I have ultramarine blue. And this is burnt umber. And this is raw umber. And I have a little bit of black. But normally I don't use black. Maybe just to use to darken the cold gray one a bit more, and yeah, so we'll see. At first I start here to make a decision on where comes the light from, and I normally do it intuitively, but in this way, as you can see, I have used here some shadow areas which I have sketched in with charcoal, and so these are my leading lines, and I want to start to follow them with not really a dark one, brown, or maybe more a sophisticated color. Like I prefer to use is more in a greenish one, which is this one here, and I want to mix it up with just a little white, because it's too bright here, and this I start to mix here a bit. So, and I use a big brush for that to apply the color. As my medium, currently I use a bit of icture, which helps me to dry the color a bit faster, and on the paper it's normally soaked in really quick instead of using a canvas. So, and I start to loosely paint some blue or bluish greenish color here on this shadow area, and really not really accurate, and so it's just a feeling on how to use it. It's not really, I have not really a plan currently, so I let it start it a bit for that, and maybe that's a good choice I've made at the start. We will see. So I'm normally reacting more intuitively on that what's happened on the canvas, instead of have a concrete plan. This is what maybe it's a bit different of all the stuff you normally see while painting portraits. And I start normally not really using a dark one. I'm starting with light colors instead of using a dark brown, and later on I'm give them a darker tone. This one now is maple yellow with a lot of white, as you can see. It's a really light color for now. So I want to apply this one here on these areas on the face. I think that maybe they are more in the light than in the shadow, and yeah, give them a try, and let's see how it will develop. See, loose brush strokes, not really concrete lines. And try to follow this one. The paper is really, it's well prepared, so it's not so soaking like normal paper with no foundation. And sometimes I'm using the canvas or the surface of the paper in this case to mix the color during painting, instead of mixing them totally and totally on the palette. And I'm using the brushes and for white colors mixed in, and some brushes without any white in it, so it's give me a more clear way, and not such a muddy color on at the end. And you will see how everything comes together during the process. So I hope that these 90 minutes are enough to show the idea of how to approach on my way. So let's see. I hope the quality of the picture of the video is okay, so you can see clearly everything what I'm doing here, and maybe sometimes a bit important is that you listen my voice really clearly, or you can hear my voice really clearly, and this will be because I didn't hear me over the line. It's only the recording I see here and not really the live the live one. If you can give me a feedback, it would be nice. As you see, I'm painting over the edges I have drawn, so I'm not addicted to all these lines I have drawn on the before. So this is definitely important to give them painting a more dynamic expression. And if I decide, okay, this area has to be darker than the other one, so I start from the edge where it has to be darker and draw it to the darker area like this way. I'm starting from this edge here, which is maybe the darkest point here in the painting, or will be one, and just paint it here down. So it comes a bit clearer. And of course here on this area here, and this area here too, I'm starting just the thing when you are having this kind of approach, you have to be sure that you don't lose your underlying drawing. So that's for me sometimes a challenge, and to find the right path back. So for now I'm using a mixture of burnt umber and burnt sienna, no white in it currently. Now the color will be initially more transparent, so you can see the underground from the drawing, which is easy to me to follow then, because it's always visible to me for the moment. And as you can see, I'm using a fairly large brush, which is here in it's a size of 20 or so. It's a Brislan brush, and I've followed to describe some main forms, and later on I redefine these when I'm not happy with the initial paint. And I'm going around the face, so I'm not only fixed on one local point. I'm doing this around and being certain that my eyes are really playing with all these forms around. It's a bit too brown now. Use a bit from a reddish one, and a little bit of magenta, which is also transparent, but it's more a cool, giving more a cool tone. You can see that here. And so for now, so don't be so pedantic and so direct and so fixed on all these lines, because then you're losing the flawless and the more driven drawn character. So it's more this will then following more the traditional form of painting, yeah. And I try to be open for everything what's happening. So I'm reacting on this. Yeah. Sometimes you see, sometimes I follow the form, normally, which is where his face is round, and sometimes I'm not. I'm doing always vertical or horizontal paint strokes, and sometimes I use this as like a pen, just to come into a draw mode instead of a painting mode. So using the brush like a pencil, and so we will see how we come to these forms, and especially of this kind of expression I like. So it's you see that in the drawing, in the drawing of the ball pen, you see that it's really loose drawn, and I'm not really fixed on some special area in the face. I always following the idea, and let the ball pen flow around over the paper. And this I want to try to do that in the same way. I want to do that with the brush, yeah. And that's obviously a bit different from drawing with a pencil. And to stay focused on your on your style, not to jump around without any idea. Just follow your intuition. By maybe you have an inner map. Sometimes I'm really concrete on what I want to do. It's really I see the painting before I start. Then it's definitely a way to paint mentally. So the painting or the picture or the paint, yeah, then this way the painting is already done until it's on the canvas. That's also a way to do. And sometimes it's a fight. Really, it's a fight. You don't find the form, you don't find the expression, you find nothing, and you don't know why. That's a challenge you have to solve as a painter. And I think so that I'm not alone on the planet with that phenomenon. I think it's every painter has this, and or every artist. I think not only painting is that is in that way, and that's maybe a global challenge if you have to create something new. It's the same like if you want to make some logical things, like you want to make a programming or so, you have an idea on how to solve the problem, and you start, and then during your first solution you see, okay, there's maybe a better one, and you try it again, and it needs a while that when you find the right way. And on painting there is no other difference, I think. Okay, I see. Thank you. Hey, Thomas. Thank you. Very good. Thank you very much. Jeannie, thank you. I like your comment. So you see that it develops on a really fast way, and sometimes I decide that what's more, it's not planned. It's sometimes just a decision during the painting that I let the foundation stay, though I don't paint over it. So because I like the color, or maybe sometimes I saw, or you see a bit of the drawing underneath, so that I let it be, so because I like it a lot, and and then I use this place. Maybe let's say I want to use this area here with the eye and the bones over there in the face here on the so I want to stay that with the foundation, so it's a slightly warm gray, so let it be over there. And now I'm starting to figure out the contours around, so and I have decided to do that in a white, only in white. So I'm using pure white on the brush, and maybe there's also a decision that I don't overpaint it with the foundation. So we will see how it develops, and you see that I'm really loose and going over. Yeah, that's not a big deal. Only find the shape of the head, only to surround him with some background color, and later on you can see, maybe you wanna change that color a bit. Maybe you use giving some color from the face you use already, or from the dress you want to paint. This gives him a special dynamic. And you see, the brush is flowing around, yeah, in each direction. It's intuitively, I'm only reacting on what I'm doing here. It's not a concrete one. And I want to see that this will be maybe happen. All right, so this looks great for now. That's a good start. And when I look at the watch, so it's already 30 minutes. It's already, so the time is running. So all right, so I want to use some reddish tone, because currently it's a lot of gray and blues, and okay, the brown tones are also established currently, so I don't want to use more by now. So, and I have to decide where I use a more reddish skin tone or rose one, so and how to build that. Normally I'm using a mixture from maple yellow and my skin tone I use, and then I mix it a bit of vermilion, and that's a reddish one. That's now, it's getting more, it's a bit cool. but that's okay. We will see where we have to play later on with we have to play with cool and warmth of the color spectrum, and yeah, so it's I have to improve the amount of color I'm mixing, and because that's new to me. So normally I'm painting on canvas, which is not so absorbable. It's not absorbing the oil so like the paper currently does. So that's a play around, and maybe a part of the nose I want to do here. Painting that here in a way. So you see the color is a bit mixing. They're mixing together here on the paper because the bluish or the bluish one isn't dry now. So and I mix it with this really light color on the nose with the blue one and a bit of the gray. There's now a pale skin tone now with a light reddish touch. So that's here. Let's see here, not too much. You can see that here and where to go. So I'll lighten up this reddish color a bit. It's now a bit reddish one. Yes, that's okay. If you're wrong, so you can correct it. The color maybe it's too white, or it's too dark. You can correct these immediately by mixing some pigments under. So like in this one, it's now you see that I have three different rose colors, and this one is now a bit cooler because it has more from this vermilion in and a bit of white. It's a bit cooler, and let's see where I have to establish this one, and yes, that's the point. And where are the underlips is here. Maybe I think here it's the part of the underlip here. I use that. And here in the direction of the chest, so it's going up to the chest here now. And this color here has to be a bit lighter, but also a bit rosy, and this is here. This is the way here down. So the contours are really loose, so here's not really a sharp line for the moment, and maybe this will change during the painting process, but now I let it as it is. Maybe it's a bit too wet now, so it can start to dry a bit. So, and now I'm starting here to looking for the shadow and the light in the eye sockets. And here, as you can see, I mix the colors directly on the canvas. So let's see. All right. For now, I have a warm. It's a bit too cool. I see when I see these small pictures here now, I only see that big one, and I see what you see here now currently on the stream. It's fairly compressed, so I have to go over here and maybe I have to decide what kind of hair color I want to use. Maybe it's going to the direction to black. It would be a nice contrast, but for now I'm using a bit more violet in the brown one, so it darkens the color a bit more. And so most of the colors are not opaque, they are mostly transparent. And like the violet here is transparent, natural umber is transparent, and ultramarine blue is normally transparent. It's not opaque, so sometimes you need more layers. Then you want to have an opaque one. Instead, you don't using with a opaque color, so like black or burnt umber, or this gives a shiny impression of the color, because you see the underlaying one you used already, and especially when you don't press too much on the brush, so you don't smear it. So like figure out all these lines here and coming up more in the shadow and the dark tone. Maybe I'm changing it later to a bit more violet, but for now it's okay. I've decided to have this line sharp. I wanted this line to the chin away to the neck here. I want to have this one darker than this one in the light here. It's this I have decided right now because it looks to me realistic and not too overdone. So I'm trying to find out that the contours the contours hitting by the light are losing the edges. So and the contours to the shadow side. So I wanna paint more sharply right now. This is my decision I've made right now. So, and I hope that so this will be okay. I'm not sure right now, but it's an idea. But now I start here to change the greenish tone I already used here to giving another tonality. It's getting a bit darker now. It's more like phthalo green mixed with a bit of ultramarine blue. So you see that it's getting more bluish now, and I want to use that here, and it's the same level, so I have to be more brave to use a much better contrast for now. That's here and maybe there. Just a bit of this one, not too much. That's okay. So maybe a bit more from this turquoise. All right. So, and I'm doing that in the eye socket a bit, just a bit of that. That's all right. And to the edges over there. So see that. All right. Clear the brush. And then I'm using a little bit of white in it, because it's heavy. I want to use this color on the light side a bit. So, and only to use it here. You see, it's getting more. It's getting more light blue right now, and a bit of there in this eye here. I want to do that. That's okay. As you see, I spare out the eyes for the moment. I'm not focused on the eyes, and but for now I wanted to give a more a complete picture from the face. So the hair is, I wanna paint the hair a bit loosely, and I use pure black in this way, and just to giving some rough shapes, not too concrete, but only to catch the head and the relation to the face and to the background, so that it's easier to me to evaluate the color I want to use. And so I have the white as a background, and I have the hairs, or the hair in this case, it's on a dark tone, which is nearly black. So I mix black on here on my palette, but as you see that I'm painting over the brownish foundation now, so I'm mixing this to a slightly brownish black. So we will see, and I'm not really focused on details, just rough things being rough. So for the highlight, I mix a bit of my cold gray I prepared on my palette, just to use it on the light side of the hairs. I only use it loosely. This brings fun. I like that. Just to play around. And I know in my beginnings painting portraits, I was always, I was so angry that I lose everything, and I was so focused and staying on the original drawing. And now I feel confident to know that I'm doing something wrong. I know that I can correct it. So it's now easier to me to do it intuitively, and maybe I'm wrong. That's okay. That's totally okay. I accept that totally. And I think that you can see this you can see now, so that I'm not worried about if I'm wrong or right. So it's the only thing what I'm worried about is, or I was worried about, that Murphy stay at home and let me alone, so I don't want to see him tonight. And as everybody knows, that Murphy's Law is always present. And but I know that it's, in this case, more, it would be more the technical issues instead of my painting, because this is, yeah, not really, I don't feel really problematic with that. I'm just doing, and but what's totally new, I have to say, it's that's really pretty scary that I'm talking during painting. Though normally it's I listen to music or I listen to whatever, but I don't talk normally. That's a totally new situation for now for me. Maybe for the most of the guys who normally painting and they want to explain what they're doing, which is by normal progress, it's intuitively and not not on a plan. You cannot explain it directly what you're doing and why are you doing that. It's and this is a bit this is pretty new, yeah. So okay, let's have a bit here. Let's going outside of the back into the in the background now and painting it roughly on that way and that, just to create some dynamic that I'm not really bent on or bound, not bent, bound on the given lines, so it's free. So you can paint free. This is what I mean, what I understand being expressive, but be aligned to the organic form, not like the expressionism normally do. They are, they're playing around with strange colors, and the structure of the painting is mostly comparable to the techniques of the woodcutting technique. So it's more lined up and not really as a fluent manner. So that's in this case I'm using really some strange colors to describe a face, but this is a plan. I want to do some different things than you see normally. You're watching YouTube. They are normally showing technical painting styles and how to glaze and how to paint naturalistic, and this is not my style. It's not that what I wanna paint. That's my challenge to do that in my way, which you have to found. Yeah, it's that's a progress and being an artist, and find your own style, your own the own usage of the brushes, and so that you can see, okay, this is this guy who painted this, and maybe it's the kind of usage of color, maybe it's the subject you're painting, or the setup you use. So there are many different ways to determine which painter is that has made this painting, or has created this kind of stuff. So now I'm using a cadmium red with a light and a bit of maple yellow. As you can see, this red in conjunction with this one is much cooler, and so I'm now using that to describe some forms where I initially think that it has to be a coolish red now, so that I'm doing this. Maybe I'm wrong. I see that it won't work now for the moment, so I change it, and I'm happy with that. See that now I'm always using this cool color. Now it's mixing with a warm and light color on the forehead, to giving a form. So let's see. So it comes, it develops piece by piece. So it's interestingly, if you're using colors, they are transparent, and you're using it really slightly. You don't press too much on the brush. You can overlay the colors, and the shine, it was shining through, and give an illusion of depth. So you can see that this must be a shape which is more round, but you don't do it with darkening the color, only using the next layer of transparency to create more depth on a certain place in the face. That's so nice. So it's, so see, I'm just following the edges on the planes I currently painted, and these planes are getting smaller and smaller, and maybe there is, I painted, let us say I have painted this area with a really light skin tone, and maybe at the end there's only one really small piece you can see, but the rest is overpainted with other colors. And instead of painting everything around and then at the end putting some highlight color over it, so sometimes I'm using an inverse way. So I'm using the light color at first and then painting darker colors over and over, but slightly, don't press too much, because the colors are getting smearing, and it's getting muddy, so not really a clear and nice color. So you have to be cautious in that. That's the only thing that you have to respect. And of course that the rules you have to respect in painting oil is fat over lean. So I'm using currently as my medium an liquid, which is a fast drying medium, that I'm sure that the thin coated color around the face are not dry, but they are not slippery, and I can't use I can't paint over it with a color with less medium or pure oil. I don't mix it, so it's because I don't press too much, and I just overlay the color. And this you have to respect, otherwise you're losing the brightness of the oil colors. And this is not definitely this is not the objective you want to reach. So you want to have bright and nice shiny oil colors, especially for me, as I like that. And sometimes I like it a lot to paint more transparent and more, how would I say, more like an aquarelle. So using transparent colors in a soft tone, and so that let the underlying color shining through. This I like a lot. And as you can see here now on the edge here, I'm using the tone that is now created by mixing this here on slightly touching. That's I like, but after then I have to clean the brush, that I don't mix this tone I just created on the face here. I would have everywhere, so I just wipe it out with some solvent and or turpentine, it depends, but normally it's in turpentine. I cleaned the brush slightly so that the most of the muddish color over there, or this one I lost now. So, and now I've decided to give the nose a bit more form. So giving the color underneath that where the shadows is coming over there. It's a gray, which is now mixed with a bit of raw umber, my gray tone here, and my warm gray. It's more like it's greenish. It's a greenish warm gray tone. So, and this I mixed with a bit burnt raw umber and slightly a bit of sienna. So now I'm painting the shadow underneath the nose. That maybe is a tone. It's okay. I see the tonality is okay. So you see the value shows that you get an illusion from a shadow. And yes, that's okay. And if you want to do that in the light area, so you use that and mix really a little the less white you can give under this color, and then you follow it on the nostril and the light, and you describe the organic form of the nostril, and that's everything you need. And of course you have to have here on underneath here where it's bent around, it's like a bow here. You can describe it if you like. Sometimes I describe these forms, and sometimes I'm doing this by only moving the brush in vertical and horizontal lines and spare out the regions where I don't want to paint and then I create a round form. So you can do that with not only to follow the form with the brush, you can do that in each way you like. So this color I like a lot. It's such a neutral gray. I really use many times just to make some transitions where the forms are moving, yeah, from light to shadow. I'll use this color a lot because it's so neutral, so you can mix some other colors in it, like I'm using now a bit of magenta, so I have more, get a violet tonation. So it's then you use it here maybe on that, the shadow side from the nose going over there. So now you see the form is getting more precise. And do it slowly, yeah. It's my way, so it's the way I prefer. Sometimes I'm too fast, and this is then I pay twice because I'm frustrated and I don't reach my my objectives for that part of the face. So, and now we're using a bit of the light here, which is coming here on the upper lip. This is okay, and now we're using it a bit more here. Mix it this way with a bit of these greenish or tone, but we said that we won't want to lose the contour to every other thing. So that's okay. Thank you very much, Phil. It's nice to see. I experimented a lot with all this stuff here, and finally I'm happy with the result, and you confirmed that, and that's nice. So it's that's what makes me happy, because I was a bit confused about everything and putting all the stuff together. and but now it's perfect. I like it. So okay, so there we have. So we have when this is the light side, so we have to have a bit more. I want to use the other brush where the color is in. So we need here much more light on the blue greenish side here and light. So I'm using a bit more white to setting here the light coloring on the face. So that's one part, and maybe here on the bone we need also this color. You see that in this way I'm following the form. No, that's okay. Maybe there's a good place where I can use this value again. I'm using that here because I used a lot of this at the beginning here, and I want to use it again here. It helps me to describe. I'm not sure that this will be forever, but it doesn't matter. So it's just to find a way of the expression you wanna hit, and so yeah. So after a while I'm standing up and taking some steps away, because it's for me also not the standard that I'm painting while sitting. I'm normally moving a lot in the studio, and this is, by the way, my home studio. I have a bigger one where I paint larger projects, and this time here I'm sitting here and painting on such a small panel. That's just really new, but as I see, it's always a form of practicing. So it's I will do that a lot more. As you can see now, that's going well. That's I like. So it's now we're finding contours. Yeah, that's also here away. What also is possible is to use a piece of paper when you're not happy with the current situation, or where we have applied the wrong color on the place, and you said, "Oh, this was really a mistake, so I have to fix it." Then you normally can do a towel or so, something like that, and using your fingertip and move this axis of color away. So and then you start again. This is not, you don't have to be angry to do that, to make faults or being wrong. Sometimes it's getting a special dynamic on the expression. You didn't plan, or you don't realize at the first, but watching a while on your painting, you see, that's not so bad. Maybe I'll let it be at first and don't destroy it for now. And you wait, maybe you have a night or so, and the next day you're coming and you see what's wrong for you, or maybe what you yesterday you thought it's wrong, but sleeping one night, so it's probably a good solution for you now. So then let it be. So I now can see that the area here in the eye socket here is now too it's too light. It's not dark enough. So because this one here is getting too dominant, I want to use, there is normally a shadow because the light is more coming from, yes, and now I touched my, yeah, it's a small studio here and I have to be cautious where I have to move my arms around. And then my brush is flying away, and yeah, and now the colors on my shirt. All right, that's what I figure out now, but this is not the first step I want to correct. I want to use now a bit more focus on, I want to put the focus more on the mouth, which is currently not really existent. So it's it has to be more present in the face, and it's also a really important feature in your face, so that it can be really dominant, and so you have to paint this too in a, I use in this way normally a quinadone rose with a bit of burnt sienna and a bit of burnt, a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit, and then to whiten up with a light, with a cold gray, maybe a bit more. And then I have a basic color for the mouth. I normally use. It's I'm describing all these, roughly the form, and at first I use roughly the upper lip, which is formally darker as the underlip. This is because if you imagine that we're using the light, when the light is coming, and you have a lip like this, and this is maybe this one, and there will be the nose. So the light is coming from above, and this will be the shadow side. So this is why the upper lip is looking darker than the lower lip, and this is just a rough approach to me to find the lip form. Not too concrete, but to fix the dimension, so the width and the relation from to the upper lip to the lower lip. And then at first I'm stopping that. That's okay. That's not more for now. And just find the right proportions. And I see that it's existing. Yeah, so maybe I need a bit more, but you have to see that the head is a bit, is a bit bent to the front, so that if you use that by perspective, so normally the upper lip is showing a bit smaller than the lower lip, and the perspective will change because the width, the mouth is disappearing from you and the forehead is coming to you, so that the geometric here, which is the triangle over there here, is changing. And if you imagine that if you want to put the forehead more down, more in front of you, it's coming to you, and the chin is going to back, so that the triangle is getting more, it's getting really, I don't know, stiff or so, stiff, or I don't know, maybe it's stiff. No, stiff is another word. It's the angle is changing a lot, so that the proportions are changing. They are saying foreshortening. It's the word in English for that. So I have to realize that normally, if I'm using the right proportion, then we have the corner of the mouth over there is ideally exactly or not exactly, but really near to the pupils, so that if you want to draw the line over there where the pupils are here, then there have to be the mouth, but it's then the mouth is too big, and then you have to correct that in relation to the perspective. So I would imagine that the angle will be here. So I'm just setting the point here, and another one I want to sit here. Maybe it's already done, so that's okay. All right. So in the next step, we have to realize where the light is coming from and how it reflects on the lips. Yeah, where the lightest light on the lips and where the darkest dark on the lips too. But for now, that's okay. I see that I like the dimension, so I just have to go stand up and have a look from another perspective. Or perspective is, I think, the right pronunciation. And so that's okay. Yes, maybe the lower lip can be a bit brighter, a bit wider, and more volume. It has to be more volume, because instead of using moving the head in a certain angle, so you have a foreshortening, so the width of the upper lip is getting smaller and smaller, and of course then you see typically you see your underlip, but it depends. In reality, it depends on the physiognomic of the person, and we don't have any real person here, so I can do as I like, but it should follow the rules. Yeah, this I want to this I want to change now, though that I see that the volume is looking better for that, and it's following the rules of perspective and the impression. This is what's okay. What I have to respect in my way. Yes, it's not a rule written in stone. So it's just that what I have to, in my way, I have to respect, and I do it, because my eye would say, no, that's not, something is wrong here, so you have to change it. So then I change it. And sometimes I was wrong in my decision, and this okay. I said, done it wrong, no problem, change it. So at the start, I thought maybe I'm really able to paint a portrait in that way in 90 minutes. But looking at the watch, or at the clock, did you say what? Looking at the watch or the clock? Sometimes I'm confused when to use what in English. I see that we have 20 minutes left, and I'm not really surprised that I'm not really on a better developed state now. But I'm talking a lot, and I'm doing this the first time, and I hope you respect that, and you're not so critical with me. So now I'm starting to, because this is now possible to do more the light situation now. So the color has just put a little soaked the color, the foundation soaked a bit the color on, so it's now possible to me to overpaint it now with some more lights. And yeah, so that so I'm now, so that's okay currently. So then in a lack of time, I'm now have to decide what kind or what color I want to use for the shirt. I think I'm using orange. So what kind of brush I want to use? I have a big one here too. Yeah, this one. So I'm using orange for the shirt, which is really a bit weird maybe, but doesn't matter. It's gives him a bit of a really strange expression. Maybe later on I decide to make a print on the shirt. Maybe I'm not sure now for now. So, but I started for now. I'm giving a shirt and painting the first idea of the shirt, just like a sketch. So this is now perfect that I choose here at first. I choose a bit sienna for the shadow side, which is now more a color which is in harmony with the shadow impression of orange. So that's I like a lot. So now maybe this leads me to to the decision that I want to use orange. Okay, anyhow, it doesn't matter. So I start here to go over and give him some quick and easy brush strokes for now. Just to be like Rob Ross, just a bit of orange and be brave. Don't be too correct. You can paint it in the background, and you can move from the background back. The same on this way, and not only using the form, instead using brush strokes in every way you like. That's if they are dry later on, you can correct this by overpainting it in a way you think it fits you better, and or it's hitting more your style for now. So I like that approach for now. So I'm using a bit white in this orange to setting, or to just to catch some spots where the light should hit the shirt, not too correct now, because we aren't at the moment in the face. So be loose, stay loose in your style of painting and maybe drawing in this way, and yeah, be relaxed. There is no reason to fall in a nitty-gritty way to paint currently, because you don't do that on the rest of the painting. So don't do that on the shirt. That's not the way it will work, I think. That's paint, and on. Yes, that's the way. Perfect. Yeah, so it's coming along, but I see that the proportion of this is not really that what I want when I have. So you see that here. Yeah, okay. So, and this is the bow here, it describes here, then I describe it too, and maybe I have to change this line. So, all right, so and then we have this, I give him a bit darker tone just to simulate the shadow. So I've used for that burnt sienna, just to darken a bit the orange color. Or what you can use, I won't do it later, for darker shadows. You see that here, it's now a bit, it's not dark enough. So I use this one a bit more. So just to paint a bit of the shadow side, not too much. All right, maybe you can roughly use a bit of this. So for more concrete shadows, so that more are using a mixture of violet in it. So just to get a brown tone, which is get a touch of violet, and I'm painting the shadow in it. Just only in a rough idea where the shadow has to be, and maybe later I want to, if the color is drier, then go over it and maybe I correct it, or sometimes I'm using a smaller brush, really a small brush, and I use that brush like a pen, only to place some points where I'm not really happy with the result and I want to correct it. And normally I use orange, really thinned with solvent, to make transparent orange lines, so they disappear later on when I'm painting. So you see that now we're going to the shadow, it's more concrete now, and I see that sometimes you need a bigger contrast to create some dynamic, and this is also a process I have to learn, and sometimes I'm too soft in the contrast, and it's not really, it doesn't help. Yeah. So okay, so I see it now, there's a lot of room of improvements on the painting, but for these first 90 minutes, or not really 90 minutes, but close to, I'm happy for now. It's yeah, it's nice. It's I want to resharpen the edge here. That's okay. Maybe I use this color exactly for the eye socket here above a bit. Just a bit of them, not too much. And maybe for the other one too. So, okay. All right. That's nice. So I see that I'm doing here a bit more. I have this brush here already available with a whiter tone I'm using this here, and setting up where the light is hitting the body skin, where normally the light should be. I'm doing that now, really on a thick. It's now really thick, the color, just to be sure that maybe tomorrow, I think the color will be slightly dry until tomorrow, and I wanna film that to the end, so that I think so during the next, starting next week, I wanna publish this painting is finished. So and for the next workshop, I will have another exercise or another subject. Maybe it's not a portrait, it's maybe something other, I don't know, I have no idea until now. Maybe we are doing some interior, or we're doing some nature, or an animal, or whatever. It's if you want to see something special, you can write it in the chat. Maybe I can respect that if it fits to that, what comes to my style. I would plan it. That's not a problem. I'm flexible in that, and would be happy when you help me to be part or participate more actively on that workshop here, or in the following workshops, maybe better to say. All right. That's so what now? What maybe you now see that we're losing the a bit the nose, because the nose is normally it's standing more in the light than the rest in this case, so I have to respect that, and then to change the colors around the nose here, which is normally here it's a bit more darker. So maybe I can do that now with a slight gray in it, really not much, just to see that these are the plants from the nose currently. They are coming and they are sitting in the shadow, more shadow than the edge of the nose. Yeah, so it's only just a rough note, so that I don't lose that in a way. And I'm giving the nose the three-dimensional impression. So, but not being too focused on a nose. Sounds weird, but that's important. Don't paint a nose. Paint areas, paint shapes, and nothing really. Don't be too concrete in the idea of what you're painting now, because then your noses will looking all the same way. So you're fixed on your own nose, that's the picture you imagine that you have which is brand in your brain. So, and you have to lose it, and you have to be free in painting a nose. So you're painting areas and shapes, and this you have to think. When I start during painting, not when I'm now explaining, but during painting, I think that I now have to paint the chin, or I have to paint the eyes, or What else though? I have to stop immediately. Then because I tend to paint my specific nose. This is not really helpful. Yes. So yeah. So and then I have to just take a stop or make a rest for a while, coming to a better state, and so that I know that now I have to paint areas and shapes. So yeah, that's okay. It's coming. It's coming and coming. You see that during the whole process, I started with this color in the area, and that didn't touch during the complete painting. Maybe after the painting is finished, you only see some small parts of blue because I overpainted it with other colors, and you see I want to use this blue as a dark color to describe a contour, and that's all, everything. So nothing more. And maybe it would be a good idea to use some dark blue in the ear over there, and to follow the line, not getting too excited or too colorful in that way. So because you see I'm moving in a spectrum where the colors are nearly on the same base. They're always likely slightly violet and a bit of cold red, which is really close to coming to the blue side. This is blue. The greenish has a tend to be blue, and everything is on the same side of the color scheme for me in my color scheme, and so that's the only thing that it tends or going away from that is a brown tone along there, and the darks here in the hair. That's a difference, and of course the change or the color in orange, which is on the color wheel the opposite of violet, and which is here the color of the lips, and some shadow lines here, and yeah, that's the thing. Okay, we are 3 minutes to go, and I think so. I'm stopping here and now, and I'm just switch back to another view, and so I can say goodbye. Wait, I have to do that here. All right, so I'm using camera and a bit away from the camera. So it's now nearly 10, which is 10 p.m. And yeah, I think it's okay. What's the progress until now? I'm happy with the result until now, and hope you liked it. Please leave me some comments over there. Maybe you follow my channel if you like, so you subscribe my channel. You know the button below the video, and I will see you next time. Have a nice evening, and have a nice week. Bye bye.